I'd love to get your sense of whether we in Canada can actually have a serious debate about our natural resources sector finally post COVID and with all the challenges on supply chain in the world. Isn't it time to have this adult conversation?
Well, it's a time to have a lot of adult
Yeah.
conversations, I think, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, what we see happening with Russia and Ukraine right now, if that isn't a catalyst to have a serious conversation, I don't know what is. But once again, I think the messages that have to be communicated are based on fact. So much of what we've heard about environmental issues is not based on fact. It's based on some model that somebody's concocted, fed some data into, and as you'll notice too, they always say this will happen in 2040 or 2050 or 2100. It's always way down the road that things
Right.
are going to be happening. And yet, when we look back, because of course a lot of these doom and gloomers were sending messages back 30 years ago, and yet absolutely nothing of what they said has actually come true. So I think that's partly what is spurring a backlash against what these the green zealot gang are saying, is that your average person is going, wait a minute, we were supposed to have no polar ice caps right now, wait a minute, we were supposed to have no glaciers, we were supposed to, all of these, the seas were supposed to be flooding certain islands around the world, and anyway, on and on. None of it has come true. But again, that's not a reason not to take environmental issues seriously, but it is a reason to start having an intelligent, fact-based adult conversation, as you say, on this very, very important issue.
You raise a really important point because and I think Schellenberger made the same point that when you actually read the IPCC, these International Panel on Climate Change reports, they say one thing, but then the media sensationalizes it, or the apocalyptic environmentalists take one strand of it without looking at all of the things that are caveats that are found in the reports, saying this might happen, but it's a low percentage possibility. And then all of a sudden the headline is our ice caps are melting tomorrow. So do we need a more mature media in our country as well to tackle these issues?
We certainly need some way of pushing back with some intelligent information, definitely. And I think, let's face it, the dramatic headline will always rule, because it's the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads, right? The drastic stuff always tends to grab people's attention, so it tends to be what the media uses or gravitates toward. But that's not particularly responsible. And I think the whole question of a carbon tax, I think, is a really good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
What we have in Canada is actually a big mess. It's not the proper, even if you're a pro carbon tax person, we do not implement it properly here in Canada at all.
Yeah, expand on that a little bit, because obviously the carbon tax is becoming an issue in the Conservative Party leadership race, as well as the April 1st is looming for Canadian consumers with yet another hike to the carbon tax. So explain a little bit more why we need a better debate on that.
Well, when you made me think of William Nordhaus, who won a Nobel Prize a few years ago in economics for and he was a supporter of the carbon tax. But again, if you actually read what Nordhaus said, he said a carbon tax should replace all of the emissions caps, pollution limits, red tape surrounding what various industries can do environmentally, and so on. But we didn't do that in Canada. No. We layered a carbon tax on top of there's hundreds of regulations, heavy red tape laden policies that cost our economy money, and frankly don't really achieve the goals they're set to do. The carbon tax was supposed to replace those, not be layered on top of it.
Okay, I get it now. And do you think that the April 1st hike in the carbon tax should go ahead?
No, absolutely not. Given our current, well, frankly, I think the carbon tax it either needs total elimination, and we can move to other means of accomplishing environmental objectives, measuring them as well, because we're not measuring anything. That's the other problem. But no, I think given our current situation, the least they can do is not raise the carbon tax as of April Fool's Day, April Fools on Canadians.
Yeah. We're going to continue our discussion with Catherine Swift. She's the president of the Coalition of Concerned Manufacturers and Businesses. After this break, please stay with us. We'll be right back.